The days here start most often with music. If I'm able to sleep through that, then they begin with the sharp screech of the bathroom door opening, signaling that at least one of us has left the recess of our bed. I am a person of patterns, and although there are few here, the morning allows me the constant of B2 sleeping in the center of the path on my way to another constant, the promise of tea. The time between breakfast and the morning session is the calmest part of the day. Unless, of course, it's one of those days when we collectively remember that no one asked Johanna for more toilet paper at dinner, and we enter the panic zone. But the panic soon recedes, and we all settle in for the first session of the day. Again comes the beautiful constant of tea and cookies, served by the esteemed women of CRHP. At first, I didn't think anything other than, yes, it's time for tea. But when I thought about it a little more, I realized that these women were silently showing us what it means to serve others in a public and selfless way, which in the end is the bedrock of public health. Then comes lunch, and the sight of that last dish that most certainly contains chapati makes my mouth water. It's about this time that I realize that all of the constants that I rely on depend on food, which is interesting since we are experiencing a culture in which food is many times the least consistent aspect of their day. Before long, it's already time for another session, this time usually with Shyla. She introduces us to village health workers who have such powerful stories, I wonder how I ever considered any part of my life difficult. Only Shyla could completely dismantle my perspective of the world in a constructive way in a matter of minutes. And before we know it, the academic day is over once we hear Shyla say, "Thank you." With class finished, I head into town, which has quickly become one of my favorite things to do because of the guaranteed adrenaline rush of the rickshaw ride that rivals any roller coaster or death drop. When two vehicles somehow magically pass on an impossibly small road, I suddenly enter the panic zone yet again and experience what can only be described as a heart attack and stroke rolled into one silent moment of certain death that is over as soon as it began. After the long day and town adventure, a bucket shower is a must. It's always a gamble if the water will be ice cold or melt your skin off hot, and honestly, at this point, I'm not quite sure which I prefer. Now refreshed for dinner, although there is most definitely still dirt on my feet and conditioner in my hair, I head to the mess hall, where I sit lying in wait like a hyena for the first bites of food. As soon as dinner is over, most of us are ready for bed by 8:30, because although we've only been here for 3 weeks, somehow we have managed to age 60 years. However, many of us try to fight off sleep until at least 9 o'clock, so we have a prayer of sleeping past 6. Those who fight head to the library for some Wi-Fi therapy, while I occasionally head for the roof. It is in these quiet, dark moments that I think about the day and how I fit into it. I consider the many men and women who I've met these past few weeks, both from Elon and CRHP, and how they have changed me. For example, Ratna, who I was heartbroken to leave, even though we couldn't share a single conversation. I somehow connected so deeply with her that although I only spent one night with her, mostly not speaking, it was painful to leave thinking I may never see her again. We all came here as strangers, but we leave as a single unit. Although we will return and fragment across not only Elon but the states and the world, we will always share the Jamkhed experience and take the lessons from Shyla, Sureka, Jayesh, and the many others who have so quickly but precisely imprinted themselves on our lives, just as we have on each other.